Hey, the Rio soundtrack? You're a beast.
You told me put something Brazilian, bro. I'm from Jersey. I don't even know what this is, man. But we live, so
Are we live? I don't see it go yellow yet. Come on, let's go
it's
yellow.
yellow, man. It's yellow.
It's not on my side.
Yeah, it's yellow.
I'm still off air, man.
Then
Are we?
me and all the fans, we're gonna listen to this until you get live.
Oh well, I guess I'll do it. I'm still offline. I don't see it. Do you see me? Am I with you there?
Yeah, you with me?
All right, so I guess we're live then. How's everybody doing tonight? My name is Andrew Valencia. That's Steve with the Rio soundtrack on the other side. Focused as fuck, as you can tell from his hat. But we're here talking shit off the air, but we decided to switch it on and let you guys listen in on our conversation. We're obviously talking UFC, always UFC, everyday UFC. And today's topic is UFC 224 in Brazil. Coming up, when is that, Steve? Let me know.
This Saturday night, starting at 6:15. The UFC Fight Pass early prelims. I already did the solo pod the other day. You weren't available. You were actually working, right? You were at the BJJ studio on Monday night.
Yeah. I was actually getting my little training in. I compete next month. As this summer is pretty busy for me, competing a whole bunch of on the jiu-jitsu circuit here in New Jersey. I'm still trying to get my my stain, I guess, if you want to call it, in the game. But yeah, besides me, I don't matter. Tonight we're talking a couple fighters. We're gonna talk about the Zaleski versus Strickland fight, Ramos versus Hine fight, which I'm excited to talk about. Oleinik versus Albini, which I can't wait to talk about because you hate my man Albini, and Albini, let's go, big baby. My money's on you. Steve don't fuck with you though. It's all good.
He's a big baby too. He is a big baby with those diapers.
Bruh, his hands aren't big baby. But anyway, and then we're going to talk about the hometown hero, which I specifically want to save for last so we could spend a little time talking about him. Carl Baby K Robinson.
Yo, the odds have been going down all day on Baby K.
Oh, yeah?
They're at minus 115 right now. But let's get into this first one. Let's get into Zaleski Dos Santos and Sean Strickland. So I'm going to tell you, I like both fighters. I like both fighters. I think this is going to be a very active fight. I think both of these guys are going to get after each other. I think Strickland tries to get people down. I don't know, if he's going to be able to get Dos Santos down, but I think Dos Santos can handle himself, obviously, on the ground. But Dos Santos doesn't usually go to the ground. What do you think about these guys? Where do you think this fight is going to
go? Actually, just to piggyback off what you just said right now off Dos Santos right at the end, he really doesn't like to doesn't take it to the ground much. His background is in capoeira, which is in Brazil. The way it feels like if you're not doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu or surfing at the beach or pretty much anything else that has to do with martial arts or getting a tan, you're doing capoeira or Brazilian jiu-jitsu or fighting or both. And this guy is literally no different. Started at 9 years old. His first MMA fight was at 20. I watched a couple of his fights because I never really heard of him. He has his head movement is suspect, and he does like to take it to the ground. Like most, not take it to the ground. He does like to let his kicks go a lot, which capoeira fighters usually do. But they don't really like to throw the hands because in capoeira you're not really punching, and if you are punching, it's a very awkward angle or a very awkward punch. So with that being said, Strickland, I'm not really sure if he's a wrestler, but his background is coming out of King of Cage, which is a well-known fighting organization where he was undefeated and I believe finished undefeated before entering the UFC. So like you said, very, very active fighter. Most of his fights ended up on the ground. He was ground and pounding a whole bunch and likes to dominate. So, my opinion, it's if Zaleski could get a kick on him, he could probably put him down. But if Strickland gets a hold of him, I believe he'll dominate and give Zaleski a lot of trouble.
So you can see past the victory for both of these fighters in this fight?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, honestly, in my opinion, Zaleski has to come out firing with those kicks because his hands and his head movement really, I don't think are a good look for him. And most of the fights that I saw him fight, he was getting caught a lot with punches and, walking through him. Of course, he's a real tough guy. He's
correct. Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
He's a farmer, I believe, by trade, and that farmer strength is fucking crazy. So he's a real tough guy. So I see him walking through a lot of bombs if he does get hit. But honestly, if Sean Strickland gets his hands on him, like I said, and tries to take him to the ground, I think he'll have his way with him. Also, he's like we said earlier in the last podcast, this is in Brazil. And This is a card that's heavy with Brazilian influence and fighters. So I think a lot of these fighters that are coming in from the USA and that are not Brazilian are looking for finishes. And Sean Strickland is no different.
I agree with you there. Did you by any chance see the Max Griffin-Mike Perry fight? I think that was in Orlando when Max Griffin upset Mike Perry.
Yeah, I believe so. Mike Perry came in all confident and got his head knocked off.
Yeah. Big favorite. Like huge price on DraftKings.
I did see that.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I was in shock. And again,
did Mike Perry lose his girlfriend after that fight?
After that, yeah, he did lose. He did lose his girlfriend. Horse face? Who called her horse face? Oh man, somebody called her horse face. I forget who it was.
That was Covington.
That was Kobe. Yeah, Kobe violated.
Kobe
violated.
I hate him.
But my point. Getting back to this, my point is, Max Griffin, put it on Mike Perry, and I didn't really know who Max Griffin was. I know who Mike Perry is. I didn't really know who Max Griffin was up until that point. So now I'm doing my research, and I see that Zaleski Dos Santos fought Max Griffin. Now Max Griffin knocked him down twice, but Dos Santos beat him, but in a 3-round decision. So with that being said, I know MMA math doesn't always work. It's not the transitive property. This guy beats this guy. This guy beats. I know it doesn't work that way, but in talking about the striking, talking about where this fight's going to go, I think that Strickland's going to have a tough time getting him down. I know he wants to take him down, but I think he's going to have a tough time getting. How does Strickland get Dos Santos down to the mat? Because if he gets him down to the mat and he gets top position, then I know Dos Santos is tough, but I can see Strickland winning this fight. I don't know how he's going to get him down to the mat.
Well, in my opinion, from what you just threw out that stat from that fight, how he got knocked down twice and still ended up winning by decision, what that says to me is that Dos Santos is laying it on him pretty good. I mean,
exactly.
So the way Sean Strickland, honestly, I mean, Sean Strickland was striking in the fights that I did see. It's not like he doesn't like to strike. It's not like he's not going to stand and bang with you and try to put you out with his hands. He does pack a punch, but I don't know, man. I mean, I didn't really see any Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background. I'd assume maybe he does. Obviously, everyone in MMA, you have to work your takedown defense. In Brazil, maybe it's times 10 just because Brazilians are just super freaks. But I don't know, man. His head movement suspect. If he gets caught real good, I feel like Sean Strickland will seal the deal, man. My opinion.
I'll tell you. Yeah,
throw those hooks. No, it's cool. And in my opinion, throw those hooks. Land a couple on Dos Santos, shake him up. And once he gets to the ground, man, if Sean doesn't knock him out in the first round or really put it on him, Dos Santos is obviously going to get that decision. So that's my opinion. Sean gets the finish or nothing, or the decision goes to Zaleski.
And I'll even throw another stat out there because, again, I'm going back and forth. Again, in my notes, I had some more information. But Sean Strickland's only 2 losses are to Kamaru Usman and Santiago Ponzinibbio.
You're talking about fucking freight trains.
Studs. You're talking about he's only lost to studs.
Freight trains.
Now it's tough because he's going down into Brazil, but we gotta stop. We gotta stop BSing right now. I'm gonna tell you right now. I think this is going to decision. If I were a betting man, which I am, I'm gonna take the over. All right, I'm gonna take this fight goes to decision. And as much as I want to take Strickland, I think Zaleski Dos Santos is going to be able to point fight him for 3 rounds and get the decision. So I'm going to go with Zaleski Dos Santos. with a 3-round decision win over Sean Strickland. And if we're talking specifically DraftKings, I think maybe their GPP plays, especially Strickland, because like you had just mentioned, he has that knockout capability. He's tough. I mean, both of these guys are very tough, which is why I just don't see a finish. But what do you think?
Honestly, dude, my opinion is this. They're both really, really tough guys. They can both really, really pack a punch, pack a kick. They just bring it. Let's just simply say it. They both bring it. And they both really, really work hard. So with that being said, I mean, I can see the decision, but something just tells me Sean Strickland's going to bring it and finish this guy within 2. You heard it here.
Well, I'm going to put it to you here because I know I'm making you play DraftKings this week. I know you used to play, but because of the podcast, I'm going to play more. This fight is priced at $8,100 each, which to anyone who plays DraftKings, they know it's basically a pick'em 50-50 fight. So if you believe that Sean Strickland is going to get that knockout, he's a great play in GPPs. You know, those big tournaments trying to get that big knockout. Even in cash, if you think he's going to get that knockout, you know, play him in cash too if you want. You know what I mean? It's an evenly priced first match we're talking about.
Well, either KO, TKO, or stoppage. I mean, I just feel like Sean Strickland knows he's not going to get that decision. Not in Brazil. If it's razor close, like if it's so obvious that Dos Santos is just getting his face beaten, but he's just not going away, he's not going to sleep, then all right, I get it, whatever. If it's an obvious robbery if Sean Strickland doesn't win. But if it's really close, we all know who's going to get that win. And it's obviously going to be the Brazilian influence. So in my opinion, Sean's going to bring it. He's going to try to finish this guy. And in my opinion, he does it in 2. If he does it in 3, that's cool, but I doubt he's going to do it right out the gate. I mean, these guys are tough as nails, and we are going to see fireworks, if nothing else.
Yeah, but we're going heads up. Me versus you, we're going heads up on this fight. It's basically a pick 'em 50-50. We're going heads up, so we'll see what happens.
There you go. Good luck, guys. I hope you guys win. I'm beating Steve, though.
Keeping track of this. All right, next fight, I'm going to let you start off with your boy, Davi Ramos. He's fighting Nick Hine. Let me tell you a little bit about Nick Hine before we get into Davi Ramos. All right, I watched film on Nick Hine. All right, here's the first problem. You know what today's date is, right? You don't know what today's date is. All right, let me help you out.
No, I do. I'm sorry. I was. I don't know if the camera can see me. I was taking a little puff of my CBD pen. You know, all athletes in the jiu-jitsu world and fighters should definitely do that. Little promo. We are not sponsored by them, but hey, dude, this shit works. Get it for your body. Get it for your joints. Make your life amazing. Pure.
Right, so now that we just gave props to the sponsor that isn't paying us, let's get to Nick Hine.
We show love, baby.
So Drew, I asked you about the date because May 12, 2018 is today's date. The last time Nick Hine was in the octagon was September 3rd, 2016. Okay? What? We're talking about a man here who hasn't been in the octagon in over a year and a half and had, I don't know exactly what the injury and something with his spine, something with his back that was real bad. He could like barely, I tried to look some stuff online.
Yo, Steve.
Yeah, go ahead.
You said today's the 12th or the fight is the 12th?
No, today is the 12th.
Today's the 9th.
I'm sorry, today's the 9th. The fight is the 12th. The fight is the 12th.
Yeah, I got you, Steve. I got you, brother. I got you.
Thank you for the pickup. But my point is, this guy has now fought in over a year and a half in the octagon. He had some kind of a spinal surgery, and I don't know if something was pushing against his nerve or was pushing against his vertebrae. He was having a lot of pain coming back from on a flight. His only loss in the UFC was to James Vick, who we all know is a killer. But Nick Hine right now is 34 years old. He's fought a bunch of guys. He beat Drew Dover. He's the name that I recognize. The other 3 names I do not recognize. But again, they were in 2015, 2016. So whether they're, successful or not, they're not that successful because I really don't recognize it. So what does that tell you about Nick Hine? I watched him again in that tape against James Vick. He's tough. He's very, very tough. At times, he was getting the better of the striking battle against James Vick, but eventually James Vick in the second and third round basically got the best of him. So I probably would have said that was a split decision, 29-28. I think I'm pretty sure that's how the judges scored it on most cards too. They may have been a 30-27, but for the most part, it should have been 29-28 James Vick. So this guy is very, very tough. So what are you going to tell us about your boy Davi Ramos?
Well, one thing to add on, just some things. So because I do agree that he is very tough, your man Nick Kine. A couple things about him that I find interesting is that he's a judo player, because I always try to find the martial art background with all these guys first, because anyone could throw a punch and a kick, but I need to know why you are the person you are and your discipline. And judo is a big game, because judo, as a whole, just to be a judo practitioner, you have to be really, really tough mentally, because you're going to put your body through a lot of physical pain. So that guy, just watching his highlight and his story, it's real inspiring. And you're right, he is rusty. He was a police officer for 11 years, hasn't fought in a while. And for me, I feel like this is like his one shot at getting it back, if that makes any type of sense. Like, if he doesn't win now, it's pretty much like he probably won't get a fight ever again type thing. And he could just go be a cop in Germany or something. But Davi Ramos, my guy, he's an ADCC 2015 champion. And for anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, ADCC in the jiu-jitsu world or in the fighters world or in any world is a big fucking deal. The ADCC in the jiu-jitsu world is pretty much the Olympics of jiu-jitsu. Anyone who is anyone, I mean, I think Ben Henderson, who was in the UFC, who is now in, I believe, Bellator, actually,
Benson Henderson,
actually competed at ADCC as a grappler for jiu-jitsu and no-gi. So that gives you just a little bit of insight of how huge this is and the type of caliber of athlete that actually compete at these events. And Davi Ramos is no different. If you want to look him up, you can look him up on YouTube, anything. He's out of Alliance fight team, and this guy's an animal. He's a finisher, just like most jiu-jitsu players, and I believe he gets it done. Nick Kine is a good guy, but Davi Ramos is just on a different level. If he takes it to the ground, we all know what that means. If you heard the last podcast, you don't go to the ground with a jiu-jitsu phenom, especially of that caliber. This isn't a purple belt or a blue belt or just a guy who says, I can do jiu-jitsu. This is a verified jiu-jitsu badass, and he has the gold to show it. So with that being said, and he has some power in those hands. If you look up, watching his fights, he can definitely throw some bombs. So if I have to throw my money on it, like I know we will, I'm going to go with Davi Ramos finishing. Because in Brazil, they want blood, and he's going to give them blood.
Well, again, Drew, we're talking about a couple different games that we're trying to play here. You got the betting game, you have the pick'em game, and then you have DraftKings. Okay?
Well, I want Davi Ramos in all the games.
Well, this is what I'm saying. So you want Davi Ramos. I agree with you. So we're both going Davi Ramos. I'm keeping track of our picks because I don't want you talking shit after trying to turn the tides on me.
No,
so
I want Davi Ramos in everything.
Okay, I'm ready to get picked down. So let's go here, because now you're saying a finish. And in the pick'em game, if you're going to say that it's going to be a finish, which you are,
yes,
you're going to pick a round.
I picked Davi Ramos. This is a 3-rounder, of course. I picked Davi Ramos, and I don't know why I always like round 2. Maybe because the first round you figure them out, you beat their face in, then round 2 you come out and finish them. But Davi Ramos, if you ever seen him fight in jiu-jitsu, he kills you within seconds. So I say first round, TKO, Davi Ramos. Bye-bye.
I'm going to tell you what. I'm going second round.
Ooh.
And I'm going to tell you why I'm going second round. Because I saw that fight versus James Vick. And Nick Kine came out, and he was very aggressive early. So I think his aggression early is going to be able to keep Davi Ramos off of him. But I think Davi Ramos is going to get the best of him. He's going to get him down. And again, if he gets him down, I think he's going to get the best of him. And he's going to get that submission. That's what I think is going to wind up happening. Although for the most part, Nick Kine has good takedown defense. So
well, he is a judo player, but like with most judo players that I've ever that I've ever seen. You get them to the ground, they're a little shaky. I mean, they got some Mukiwaza, don't get me wrong, but nah, man. Davi Ramos, what I was gonna say, don't underestimate his aggression, man. Those Brazilians, they're feisty, man, and he's gonna come out and be really, really. In my opinion, he's gonna come out in the first round and be real aggressive and try to finish the fight. I mean, you're in Brazil, it's hot, the atmosphere is crazy, and these Brazilians just want blood, man. And Davi Ramos is the guy to give it to them. So first round KO or TKO, book it.
Well, listen, I totally agree with you. I also like Davi Ramos and DraftKings. Nick Hein, I believe, is more or less a GPP play. You don't really know. He's 34 years old. Yeah, he's tough. Yeah, he was a former cop and all this other stuff. I just don't know after a year and a half. After a year and a half, what are we getting? You know what I mean? What are we really getting out of Nick Hein? A year and a half, a bad back injury. It's very concerning. But I tell you what, I am very concerned about him and about this fight because again, he's kind of a wild card. So I'm concerned that if I don't play that wild card correctly, then we may be wrong on Davi Ramos. So I think it's a good price on Ramos. It's minus 150 and under 2.5. We're both predicting this fight to go under because you're saying first round, I'm saying second round. Under 2.5 is a plus 215. So you may want to put some money on that under 2.5. But listen, this is what I'm going to tell you next. I really like that fight. I don't like this fight. So let's transition into Alexei Oleinik and Junior Albini, Big Baby. So let us know why we should really take Big Baby serious.
Big Baby. All right, look. Out of the two, they're both heavy punchers. They both pack a punch. One wears a diaper. The other one calls himself a boa constrictor, although he looks like a Russian bear. So I don't get it. But anyway, Albini, the reason I like him, because out of the two, he's the more technical striker. The dude was 350 pounds when he started boxing at like age, 18 or something like that. So he's a certified badass that if you can move at that, he's like the Brazilian Butterbean. You know what I'm saying? This dude is legit. And he wears a fucking pamper. And he's out there kicking your fucking ass. I mean, dude, there's nothing more badass than that. The only weird shit that he does is how he has his weird stance where he holds out his left hand. But that's pretty much just to block a lot of overhands and shit like that. But his jiu-jitsu's legit. He has a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. He has legit KO power. And out of the two, he's the more technical. The boa constrictor, if he tries to take it to the ground, which in my opinion, that's what he's going to try to do. He will ground and pound you and then try to choke you out with either two of his favorite finishing moves, which is a arm in triangle from the top mount, or a triangle. The good old triangle. But tell me why you hate Big Baby, man. Tell me why you're hating on the Big Baby and why off air you were talking so much shit, bro. Like, you want to fight this guy, bro. What's wrong with you, Steve?
All I'm going to tell you is this. Listen, I'm not fighting anybody. I told you, you're the fighter. I'm not the fighter. We already established that part. All right? So don't put words into my mouth. I'm not fighting you, Big Baby. Right? That's not, plus, we're not even in the same weight class. I'm carrying some pounds right now. We're not even in the same. He's got me by 60 pounds, bro.
Bro, his legs are me. Like, each leg is like me. That's two of me.
Listen, all I'm going to tell you is this. When I watched him fight against Arlovsky, first of all, let's backtrack. Because I remember, and I actually had him in DraftKings when he fought against Timothy Johnson. And it was a bad fight. And everybody said Tim Johnson is the worst fighter in the UFC at that time in the heavyweight division. He beat him, knocked him out, knocked him down. I mean, how bad were the punches? I don't even think they were that bad. But he was a terrible fighter. So, all right, Albini gets his first win. So now he's like a minus 300, maybe, minus 250 favorite against Arlovsky. And I don't really think that Oleinik is going to do anything different than Arlovsky. He's going to stay away from the big right. Albini, he likes to throw, heavy. Don't get me wrong. He throws heavy legs. But he likes to throw heavy legs, but you can kind of stay out of range from those legs. You think that he's a great BJJ practitioner. He may have a black belt. He looks stiff to me. And again, Oleinik, the boa constrictor, why do you think they named him that? Like, bro, he submits people. You know what I mean? So I don't know how Oleinik is going to get Albini down to the ground. But if he can get Albini down to the ground within 2 or 3 minutes, and he's got like a minute and a half to 2 minutes to work, I think Oleinik is going to keep him on the ground. And if Albini tries to get up, he's going to be able to take his back and get him in a rear naked choke or get him in some kind of a submission. Plus, again, Oleinik is here to win. He's not here to lose this fight. He's here to win this fight. He's 52-11. He's fought plenty of times. He knows to stay away from that big right hand. That big right hand is the finisher. So you stay away from the finisher. So again, Albini, big baby. I know he's going to come out in a diaper. I know you like him. My pick is Oleinik. So you tell me why I'm wrong.
Because Albini is clearly the better grappler on the ground. The bone constrictor is the bone constrictor, whatever, when he was winning fights in the fucking blind league in Russia or wherever the fuck he's winning 52 fights. But, dude, Albini's out here. You underestimate the movement of big guys in jiu-jitsu. If you really, really want to see some big guys in jiu-jitsu, you need to see these guys who are legit 300-plus pounders moving better than you and I on the ground. Crushing it. Shout out Big O out in California, Gracie Baja. That dude's a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? You look at a guy like that, 300-plus pounds, who can move like a lightweight on the ground in jiu-jitsu, bruh, it's unreal. And I think Albini, this fight, to me, is not a knockout. They both pack a punch. They're both big as fuck. They're heavy as hell. I mean, anyone that size can knock you the fuck out with just breathing on you. You know what I'm saying? But regardless...
I agree. 100% agree.
But this fight, in my opinion, ends on the ground submission. Albini fucking chokes the boa constrictor out. And that's all she wrote. Brazil gets another dance. That's it.
All right, so I'm going to write this down. We're going to transition into the next fight, but I'm going to keep track of this. Okay? Because I'm going Oleinik, you're going Albini.
Yeah.
So the next... you got something else to say, or we good? Because your boy's coming up.
Albini doesn't shit his pamper. He's out here putting people to sleep. You heard it.
Listen, he can prove that to us on Saturday night. Because last time, check the diaper, bro.
Hey, bro. He's fighting Arlovsky. You said, bro, shut up. Let's go to the next fight. Shut up.
All right.
You should wear a pamper because Saturday you're gonna shit yourself.
Oh boy. All right. So the next fight, last fight on the prelims, the FX prelims. And just so that everybody knows, after this, we're gonna hang up. We're gonna shut this down. We're gonna put it up on YouTube. We're gonna put it on Twitter. We're gonna send it all around, and then we're coming back to do the main card. All right. Don't miss the main card. But we're coming back for the main card. So the next fight is Cesar Ferreira against Carl Baby K Roberson. I'm gonna let you start.
Baby K.
Tell us about Carl, man.
So Carl is a silent killer. Like dude, I don't know, man. He's my hero, bro. He's New Jersey's hero. I promise you, New Jersey. This guy coming out of Neptune, fighting out of Killer Bee Comebacks, training out of Bulldog Strength and Conditioning, former Glory kickboxer, and may I add, when he was in Glory, he had only fought maybe 3 or 4 times before he was already fighting on big main cards. So the dude is legit. He's a natural freak, athletic as all hell, and packs a dynamite punch. Anybody who's ever been hit by this guy literally says, what in the fuck? So, I mean, this guy, I don't know who Cesar Ferreira is. To me, he's just like a local guy who's just on the UFC roster. He's, I don't know, really, Steve, maybe you know more about him. I wrote a couple things down, but Carl Baby K. Roberson, I've been literally watching this guy in his training camp. Shout out to Bulldog. And, dude, the guy's lean. The guy's mean. He's quiet as all hell, humble as ever. Has a killer smile, but he'll knock you the fuck out. And in my opinion, he goes into Brazil and does no different. Goes in there. I told him to pack a body bag when I was talking to him, and I think he did. So I don't know. Let us know a little bit about Cesar, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't know a ton about him. I did watch, bits and pieces of 3 fights. I watched the Marquardt fight, Nate Marquardt. I watched the Elias Theodoro fight, and I watched the Jack Hermanson fight. He basically, you could argue that he won all 3 fights. So don't get me wrong, he's no slouch. He did beat Anthony Smith before that. He did lose to Jorge Masvidal by KO, TKO. He did lose to Sam Alvey by KO, TKO. So those 2 guys knocked him out. And then he came back and he has a couple nice wins after that. Hermanson's actually on this card. And Elias Theodoro, he's a pretty good fighter. He's been winning some fights. Now, in terms of what he does and how he does it, I think the problem for him in this fight, and just so that everybody knows, I actually wrote up this fight. I wrote an article about Carl Roberson. So again, I'm not, yes, I'm a Jersey guy. Drew's a Jersey guy. We both want Carl to win. We both think he's going to win. But the thing with Caesar, and the reason that I'm going to really side with Carl, is he's a one-punch guy. You know what I mean? He explodes into one punch or one kick or one action and then retreats and gets his footwork down and then tries to attack again. So again, he's a very patient fighter. I think over 3 rounds, the fact that he's going to attack with a single shot and then give Carl the opportunity to, retreat and counter whatever he throws at him really is going to favor Carl. In terms of the reach, Caesar does have a 4-inch reach advantage, but as I put in the article, and I think you agree with this, just because of Carl's background and the way that he fights, he's going to be able to counter it, and the distance isn't really going to matter much. When he does get inside, I think it favors Carl. I mean, when Carl was in the Contender Series, he put the guy out when he got into the clinch with a couple, tough left elbows that just basically knocked the guy out.
15 seconds.
It was literally 15 seconds. And Carl actually threw a kick, lost his balance, went down to the ground. The guy kind of jumped on him, couldn't do anything. Carl gave him a couple elbows, done. Dana White, that was in light heavyweight. So that was at 205. After that fight, Dana White basically went to Carl before they announced who they were going to take and give fights in the UFC. And he basically said to Carl, "Can you make 185?" Carl said yes, and it was done. He made 185. What did he do in his first fight? Got the guy down, got him into the clinch, got his back, choked him out. Rear naked choke. So
Carl Baby K, dude, Carl Baby K, this is the thing you're forgetting. Well, I'm not even forgetting. I don't know if you even know this. But Carl Baby K, when he was at Glory, when he first started fighting, he was a heavyweight. He was a chunky guy. He wasn't as lean and as mean as he looks now. So when it comes to cutting weight, the guy knows what he's doing. And because he used to be a big guy, because he's so heavy, he's going to come in there and he's going to make Caesar feel something that I don't think Caesar's ever felt before. I mean, the reason why Caesar's so one-touch explosive in the way he is because of his fighting background. Most capoeira guys, which he is another capoeira guy like Zaleski, they're very explosive, meaning, they have to wind up a lot of their punches, a lot of their kicks, and it's all in the movement, a lot of that dance movement that, the dancing fight style that we all know, or if you've ever seen capoeira, that's what it looks like. It looks like dancing. But in reality, it's never consistent. It's not like you're going to catch a 3-punch combo out of a capoeira backflip or whatever. It's just going to be one kick or one elbow or one punch. And that momentum and that movement is for knockout punch. So that's why he fights the way he fights. I mean, in all the fights that I saw when I first looked him up was him getting his freaking head knocked the fuck off. And it was crazy. I was like, damn, this dude's really in the UFC. Like, is he just another stepping stone? Which is why I guess he's just another local guy just to fill the card, in my opinion. And Carl Baby K is just going to use this as a stepping stone because Dana White knows what he has in this guy. He is a legit silent killer made for this, man. He's been fighting for a while. He's new to the UFC, but he's not new to the bright lights. I mean, even when on the Contender Series, I heard him say that it was a bit different walking into the Contender Series because it was a lot quieter. He was used to the big lights. Used to all the noise. Used to all that. So he's already used to this atmosphere. He already thrives off this atmosphere. So with someone like that, and for someone who goes for the finish all the time, to quote Carl Baby K, we're going to knock some motherfuckers out and smile and keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? So this is what Carl Baby K is going to do. He already packed the body bag. Just like Davi Ramos, and every box, check him off. I got Carl Baby K either knocking him the fuck out in the first round, or submission maybe in the second, like in his last fight, where he came out and finished by rear naked choke, which actually stunned me because I know this guy has power, but that really showed diversity and really made me like him a lot more than before.
Well, let's go a step further. Let's get very specific here. On DraftKings, I'm a little surprised with the price. And again, the difference in the price on DraftKings and the betting price right now has really tightened up. So Carl Roberson right now is 8.6K, which, you know, you're a substantial favorite. That probably, those odds are probably more like a minus 140, minus 150 favorite, right? And then Cesar Ferreira is 7.6K. So that's the first thing on DraftKings. So now, when we go to the betting odds, because I got the updated betting odds here too, Carl Babyface Roberson is now down to minus 115. So he's just a slight favorite right now. It's basically a pick'em. So on DraftKings, what's going to wind up happening if these odds stay like this is everyone's gonna jump onto Cesar Ferreira. And I'm all the way with Carl Roberson, and I'm calling it right now. It's going to be a first or second round knockout. That's what it's going to be. Knockout or some. It's going to be a first or second round finish. Now, I'm going to take it a step further, Drew, because I know that you're a betting man. So I know your boy right now is minus 115. Great odds if you want to bet him straight up. But if you think this is going to finish in the first or second round, under 1.5 rounds is plus 150. So what does that tell me? If I look at Cesar Ferreira's last few fights, they haven't been finishes. If anything, the fights he's lost have been finishes, and he's lost by finish, which you just mentioned. Some of his earlier fights, he was getting knocked out, he was getting submitted. You know what I mean? So yeah. How are we getting such great odds? Under 1.5 rounds is plus 150, but yet, who's going to finish this fight? If we're going to finish, I would assume it's going to be Roberson. Again, he has 6 pro fights, 3 by submission, 2 by knockout. His only decision was his first pro fight. So it doesn't really make sense, these odds right now, that they're basically saying, for the most part, like, you can get decent odds on the under. Like, it's not a plus 250. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's a plus 150. I mean, they're basically saying this is going to finish more or less, and it's probably late in the second round.
Well, for me, Steve, you remember when we were at UFC AC?
Yeah.
And how it was a heavy New Jersey card. Like, there was a lot of, like, you know, there was a couple New Jersey fighters and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And how were the betting odds then? Do you remember for those Jersey guys?
Again, you know, I favored the Jersey guys. Don't get me wrong, it did.
Yeah, like more or less, it was pretty tight just because a lot of those guys are from Jersey. So, like, in my opinion, this is just because of the Brazilian influence when it comes to this guy and most of these Brazilian fighters. Like, if this fight was in freaking Kansas somewhere in the middle of nowhere, it'd be heavy favorite on Roberson just because of the pure skill that it is. But because it's in Brazil, because of the Brazilian influence, and because of how heavy and how crazy that stadium is going to be, I mean, dude, people can lose the fight just in the changing room. You know what I'm saying? Just from the sheer panic and noise that you're about to walk into, and people literally sending you death threats. You know what I'm saying? And Carl Roberson was actually quoted saying that. You know, that him actually talking about going to Brazil, he heard that people send him threats and this and that, but he was actually excited for it. So this is why I know it's tight, but it's only tight because they're in Brazil. Ferreira's going to look for the one-punch knockout, which is why they're saying that, which is why they're projecting that it's looking like a finish. But the finisher is going to be Roberson. The person who finishes this will be Roberson. Without a doubt, put your money on that.
You know what, Drew? I tend to agree with you. I think that's the way that it's going to happen. I think Roberson's going to get the finish. And everything that you're saying is true. You know, the odds are basically going in his favor for one reason and one reason only. I mean, it's in Brazil. Yeah, what is the thing that they yell? Huerta, like in the stands or something like that? Isn't it?
I mean, in jiu-jitsu, it's don't really get mad at my jiu-jitsu accent, but it's a bunch of stuff like poa or pojada or pua. I don't know what the fuck it means, man. I know they yell it at me sometimes when I'm at jiu-jitsu tournaments. I used to get scared. Now I just block it out. I don't know if they're casting spells on me. But whatever the fuck it means, man, I guess it influences the Brazilian fighters because they just go fucking harder and they turn into fucking devils. So I don't know what that shit does, man. But for me, Caesar needs a lot more than that bullshit because he's going to get knocked the fuck out and put in a body bag and sent back to Jersey.
All right, so I'm going to go. Your official pick, I guess, is going to be Roberson. The same as me. I think he's going to get himself another submission. I think he's going to get him down and get himself a submission.
Submission? Right, I think he knocks him the fuck out. Head kick. Holla.
All right, I'm writing it down. So that's it for this. As you can see, Drew is very excited. He really likes his BJJ terminology. He likes the Brazilian vernacular, and he's a very good linguist in the Brazilian language. He doesn't know what any of it means, but he uses all the words, sparingly. So come back and get our main card predictions. You got these 4 predictions, and again, I got a solo pod where I gave you my personal predictions. All right, Drew, signing off. Anything else?
Stay dirty, baby.